All right, well, welcome everybody. It's Thursday, November 19th, and my name is Mary Beth Fleming. I'm a Red Diamond here with Purium and part of our Bliss Ohana team. And I am super excited for this call today because we are going to be hearing from all of the top leaders on our Bliss Ohana team, with the exception of Ashley Castro because it's her birthday. So send her some love in the chats. But today we're really going to be focusing on how to be business forward and really how to hold that posture and that presence and being business forward. And the reason being is we have this amazing virtual business retreat coming up here December 1st. So starting to posture that now will allow you to invite people to that and really grow your business in a sustainable way by bringing in people who are excited about this mission as well. So Sarah Rylander is going to be tuning in and we're going to be talking about all the details of the virtual retreat here at the end of the call. So make sure you stick around. But to start, I'm just going to be interviewing our top leaders. So we have Christina Amon, Crown, with us. We have Robin Tala, who's also a Crown. We have Rebecca Hall, who's Red Diamond, and Rachel Ballensat, who's a Crown with us. And I'm really excited to hear from them about their tips and tricks for being business forward and how they've been able to build their businesses to the growth that they have using the business of forward approach and really leading with that idea that we have such an amazing gift to share with people. If you're brand new, maybe you haven't heard this before, but a lot of us claim that our best product is actually the business, because what we're doing with the business is allowing financial empowerment for people. And when you have financial empowerment, then you can really invest in your health and your lifestyle and so on and so forth. So I am not going to talk too long because I really want to hear from our leaders, and I just hope that everybody has their notebook to take some notes because these are the tips of how they've gotten to where they've gotten. So first and foremost, I'm going to bring on Miss Christina Amon, who has been my main mentor. And if you were on her call on Monday that she led about the improv call, drop a 2 in the comments about bringing more play into your business. I thought that was such a fun call. And so the question I want to ask you, Christina, is how do you bring playfulness? How do you bring joy into being business forward? And more specifically, when you're going to be inviting to this virtual business retreat, how are you making it fun and making it so people want to be part of the excitement and really embody that joy factor of what this business can bring to us? So that's my question for you.
Awesome. Thanks, Mary. Thanks for this call. Yeah, so I mean, really with anything, the very first thing is making the decision. So if you make a decision that you want your business to be fun and you want to bring in joy and playfulness, that's the first step. So everybody, you're all on mute, just like say out loud, I choose to make my business fun. I choose to bring in joy and playfulness into my business. Just say that out loud because that's the first step. So once you've decided that that's what you want, that opens up all kinds of things. So one of the things that that's going to bring in is, and you'll hear people talk about this a lot, but this attitude of curiosity, that we really want to go in, really just having let go of expectations and attachments to what happens, and just like, if you were on a call, just that concept of wonder, like, gee, I wonder what's going to happen. I'm going to go have this conversation with somebody and I wonder, could this be what they're praying for? I don't know, but I'm going to go find out. And so almost like really bringing in that childlike sense of going in for the exploration, like you're going on an Easter egg hunt and you're like, is there an egg under this bush? Nope. Okay, move on to the next bush. You don't like sit there and like, there's no egg under this bush and get stuck. You just like, okay, on to the next one. Is there one over here? Is there one under this rock? So just having that curiosity, that wonder. So that's one thing. I think once you've made the decision to have your business be fun, another thing that can come with it is the ability to laugh at ourselves. So, I mean, I'm curious here, who, like on a scale of 1 to 10, where are you at? 10 being like, I am so good at laughing at myself. Like I've got it in the bag. And 1 is like, oh my gosh, I take everything so seriously. I'm super hard on myself. I punish myself, and, so we're probably
Did we lose Christina? Is that on me or you? Christina? Okay, well, hopefully she pops back in. But what I'm hearing from Christina is be curious. And I completely agree and be able to laugh at yourself. I would say the reason I've been able to hit Red Diamond in the year and a half I've been with the company is I don't take things too seriously. You know, it's like trial and error. I reach out to someone, maybe I use this wording one time, this wording one time doesn't work so good. Maybe it works really good the next time, but just not taking things too seriously and really being curious. Like, what is it that this person is going through? What is it that they're looking for? And just having that wonder and that playful curiosity like kids do. So totally agree. And we'll bounce back to Christina if she's able to pop back on. But Rachel, are you on here and available?
I am. Hello.
Hey, hi Rachel.
Hey.
Rachel's a crown with our company, and I'm so excited to be able to work with you because when I first came on with Purium, you were on like a side or not working directly with Bliss Ohana, I guess. And I would just watch you speak, especially at the conference, and just be like, wow, this girl has some serious fire and some serious energy and such an amazing story. So
Thank you.
thank you for being here today. And I'm curious if you could speak to the people who maybe are brand new on this call, like, or they're starting their business fresh with that fresh mindset. Why is today a great day to start being business forward? Like, why just start being business forward?
Yeah, well, this is a great question because I actually just have a new team that just budded and everyone was just brand new and just started going for the UBT promo, which is enrolling 3 brand partners in a week. And they just like catapulted their business. And this is the best time for several reasons right now. Because we actually have this virtual business retreat that Sarah's going to be talking about. So we have all these great ways that we can bring in our new brand partners. So as we're enrolling new brand partners, you're going to have all these wonderful resources that are going to help train them and help everybody learn the business together. And so we're, through the virtual business retreat, we're offering such an amazing opportunity for people to learn how to even be coaches as entrepreneurs. Like we're all going to be going live, on our social media, sharing about, what's inspiring, to us about network marketing, about Purium and all these things. But specifically, I think it's really important to start with the business forward, because this is how you're going to grow your team the fastest. And because people who are just starting, you want to earn income right away. You want to actually start having dollars in your bank account. And this is what's going to give you the inspiration to keep moving forward, because people who earn $1 in their first few weeks, even just $1 will get somebody motivated to, oh, this works. I can actually sell something. So let's keep going. And, once you start having a team and you start having a bunch of people who are working with you, like there's way more juiciness. It just feels really fun when you start getting your first brand partners, which for me were my best friends. And so it's really exciting to, you have this excitement and everyone's feeling your enthusiasm right now because you're enthusiastic. So you're going to attract that to you. So this is just a perfect opportunity now to bring your team in, to invite them to our virtual business retreat so that everyone's going to get trained right away. So yeah, I see that working with your boss babes. Exactly. Yep.
Yes, awesome. So drop some reflections in there of the things that you heard Rachel say about being business forward and why it works. Some of the things that I heard you say was, it's the fastest way to grow an income. It's the fastest way to grow your business is being business first. And it's more fun with a team. So bringing in that joy factor, I would totally agree. Like the reason I love this business is because of the community I've been able to build around my team. And like, I love waking up in the morning and working with my team. And the only way you can build a team is to be business forward and welcome people into your business. So absolutely. Absolutely love that. Thank you, Rachel. Yes, here we have working with friends and making new friends, staying focused and have fun. Awesome. So let's see, Tala, are you on here?
Yep, right here.
Thank you, brother. As most of you know, if you've seen Tala speak, he's extremely eloquent in his languaging and his posture. So what I really wanted to ask you, Tala, is what is some of the languaging that you use when you're being business forward that helps it be just easeful and fluid and fun and just eloquent because you have such an amazing posture around the way you speak of the business. So I'd love to hear some of the languaging tips you have for us.
Well, thank you so much for the recognition. That makes me feel so nice to be recognized for my skills. And, you know, I have been on stage my whole life, so I have a natural sort of comfort speaking in front of people. My parents put me in children's choir when I was a kid and put me up on stage at the environmental protests to talk about how much I love the earth when I was like 8 years old and stuff like that. So I'm one of the very few people in the world that does not have a fear of public speaking, but most people do. And even as someone who doesn't, I still get nervous, especially online. It's funny, I get more nervous online than I do on stage in person in front of people, which is an interesting thing to think about. But I want to say first and foremost, when it comes to language, that it's all about finding your own language, but it's also all about adopting language you hear from other people too. Everything, like, I don't remember who this quote was from, but I think it was Mark Twain or something. Someone said there's no original idea in the world. Everyone is just recycling all the ideas and putting their own spin on it. So don't be afraid to adopt and try on language that you hear that works for you, from other leaders in the company, from other people that you hear speak. I frequently hear things that I coined being shared by other people, and I definitely share things that I hear from my favorite speakers. So I just wanted to start by sharing one of the things that I'm really stepping into, one of the pieces of like languaging that I'm stepping into this year, believe it or not, I can't believe it took me this long to make it around to this idea, is that I am a small business owner. And a lot of times, like, especially around the holidays, we see a lot of posts about like, buy from small business owners, support small business owners. And in the past, for some reason, I didn't include myself in that, like, because I'm like, well, I'm a brand partner with Purium, and Purium's like a big company, and that's not a small business. But on a Leslie Zan call, and I think I was already sort of coming to this, but I heard Leslie talk about how she was like, no matter whether you work with Purium or not, you own your own small business. Your business is the recruiting that you're doing, the talking to people, the building a team. You don't own Purium. Purium isn't your business. Your network marketing business, your organization, that's your business. And so what I'm starting to do is like put myself in that category. Everyone's used to hearing about small business owners and people asking about like small business owners in this time of year. And so I'm starting to claim that, and I'm starting to post about that. And not only does that attract people to me, for, you know, people to want to support me as a small business owner, but they also, it also is a really good way to put yourself in the narrative that happens at this time of year around the holidays around supporting small business owners. You're positioning yourself as an entrepreneur, as a small business owner. And so that's some language I've really been stepping into recently. And I want to share something else that I learned on a Zoom, which this is something you can look forward to. I want to and some of you can do for sure, but I want to share this with you, that it was really surprising to me when I actually did this. So it's really important that we actually not talk about how much money we make publicly, because with there are rules around network marketing and with the FTC. And one of the ways that companies can sometimes get in trouble is when people make what's called false claims. Now, when you go out there and say, well, I make, and I've made this mistake, and I'm doing my best to rewrite this part of my story. When you tell people I make a certain amount of money, then the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, considers that like a misleading claim, because you're saying that in order to share with the person that they could make that much money too. And we know that they could, but will they? We can't say if they will. Will they do it? Will they not do it? We don't know. So it can get network marketing companies in trouble to say, I make this much money, or I just made this much money. So Leslie was sharing with us on the leadership call that a different way we can talk about it is we can talk about our annual revenue. because annual revenue is totally fine to talk about. And you could do, you know, monthly revenue or something like that. Revenue means money that the business brings in before expenses. And so I just calculated my monthly revenue. I basically went through my GV and I took the GV from every month for the last 12 months. And then I multiplied it by about 1.5, which is a very general way to get from GV to dollar amount. And so I took my total dollar amount for the last 12 months, and then I divided it by 12. And then and then to get my average, and then I multiplied that by 12. Did I do that right? Because why would you divide and multiply? Anyway, I found my monthly average and I multiplied it by 12. And you know what it turned into? And this was so surprising for me. I had no idea. $1.4 million. My annual revenue of my business is $1.4 million. I can now claim that. So yesterday I was trying on, and I know like lots of you, this might not apply to you if you're just getting started, but this is something I've been like, I had no idea that would happen. I don't consider myself among the top tier of like entrepreneurs in the country, but like, that's a big deal. So now I'm trying on a new language. When people ask me what I do, I'm like, oh, I'm an entrepreneur and small business owner with an annual revenue of $1.4 million. Bam, right? So it's all about finding that language. So I'm just giving you this little example and something you can look forward to. But some of the languaging that I like to use in my everyday world is just talking about you've probably heard this term before, ethical entrepreneurship. Now I like saying ethical entrepreneurship or ethical network marketing because it differentiates. First of all, people haven't heard that term before. They don't know what it means, but by adding the word ethical, you're insinuating that there is an unethical way and that you're not doing it in the unethical way, you're doing it in the ethical way. So it's a way in like one word to basically differentiate yourself from what people may have seen before. And it also creates curiosity because then people are like, well, what is ethical network marketing? And I'm planning one of my next videos to be about that. What is it? What are the tenets? Like, how does it work? So I like using that term a lot. I like with my languaging sort of preempting people's objections that they may have. And not everyone has objections, but some people do. And I like to preempt them by saying things like, you know, I work with an ethical network marketing company. Now let me be frank that so many companies use this business model in ways that I don't really personally find super appealing. But the way we do it is based on consent culture and authentic storytelling and servant leadership. And I found it to be really, really rewarding and beautiful. And so in just like one sentence, I'm preempting an objection that they may have, or if they don't have an objection, I'm letting them know. I'm quickly moving into the positive and letting them know what we do. And so I'm saying things like consent culture and authentic storytelling. And what was the third thing I said? Servant leadership. There's a couple other terms that I'll throw in here, but when you start saying these are the things that you do, people go, oh yeah, I like that, I want that. So it's moving into that positive. It's not being afraid to address the negative, but it's moving into the positive, because one thing that we really want to avoid with our languaging is what I call apologetic language. So when you're like, yeah, I'm doing this thing, but totally no worries if you don't want to do it, I totally get it. That's apologetic languaging, and that's like planting the seed in someone's mind for them to opt out. Now, sometimes using the term or saying like in a message, if it's not for you, that's cool, is fine, because it creates like a little less pressure in a message. And so doing a little bit of it is okay, but a lot of us, especially me in the beginning, I found myself using a lot of apologetic language. Like things like, oh, hey, would you possibly be interested in looking at, I mean, who's going to say yes to that? Like, you're preempting, you're sabotaging yourself. So practicing with your sideline, practicing with your upline, practicing in small groups, talking about what you do so that you can stand in confidence, because whatever your language is, it's really about your posture. People are attracted to people who are confident and calm and who have a strong offering and who are unwavering, you know, and think about the people you want to be around and how they speak. So it's about practicing your elevator pitch, practicing what do you say when someone says, so what do you do? Because that's a perfect opening for prospecting someone. Anytime anyone anywhere says, so what do you do? You could say, oh, well, I'm a nanny, or you could say I'm a massage therapist, or you could say I'm a yoga teacher. But you only get one shot at that question. You can't go on and on about all the different things you do. You get to choose, like, what's the one thing that you want to tell people? So, you know, I decided to start practicing that. People saying like, okay, so what do you do? And at first I was really nervous about it. And so I just started practicing with myself and practicing with other people to say, I'm partnered with an incredible superfood and CBD company, and I make residual income online by helping people share health and wealth with their communities. So what do you do? You know, like clear, concise. There's no neediness. There's no grabbiness. There's just, it just is what it is, right? And then that helps shift people's idea of network marketing, because then they might, if they have experience with network marketing, they might immediately know you're talking about network marketing. And that's good. You want them to know if they do. Or if they don't know about network marketing, then once they find out about it, they're going to have a really good example of like how to do this well instead of how not to do it well. So I could go on and on about this. There's so many things. I'll say one more thing before I pass it off here. And that is that some of you may have heard this term, and I'm so proud that it's spreading, because it's the term that I first coined in this company, and that's the term financial permaculture. And I love this term because I know a lot of people in this community are familiar with regenerative agriculture / permaculture. If you're not, permaculture is a way of farming that basically, instead of like monocropping, which means just like planting one thing in the soil, and when we plant only one plant in the soil, it tends to deplete the soil because that plant needs a lot of like one kind of nutrient, right? And so that nutrient is being depleted from the soil. And if you're monocropping, then what most farmers have to do is they have to add extra nutrients, oftentimes come in the form of like synthetic fertilizers into the soil so that the plants can keep taking that nutrient. So it's not regenerating the soil, it's just taking and taking and taking. So permaculture is at its very most basic. There's a lot of things could be said about permaculture, but permaculture, like an example, is when you grow two plants together in a garden who give each other the nutrients, who take and give different things to the soil. And so they're working together. So when I started looking at our business model and realizing how it was sort of like the exact opposite of the standard capitalist model, if I was just your coach, you were hiring me as your coach, you would pay me first for a package, like $10,000 or $5,000 or $2,000, whatever. So I get paid, I'm good. If what I do helps you, great. Hopefully it does. If I want a repeat customer, hopefully what I do is effective to you. But you know, whether it is or not, that's not really that. So you see how it's just like get paid, exchange. But with this, we feed each other. It keeps going in a circle. The better you do, then the better I do. So financial permaculture is another one. And I could talk more about that, but I'm going to let it go, pass it on to the next person. Thank you so much, Mary Beth, for having me here.
Yeah, thank you, Tala. I could listen to you speak all day, interview you all day. So, and I love the idea that you said borrowing words, because I've totally, to expand my business, I've borrowed a lot of words from you, like the financial permaculture, the consent culture, lifestyle entrepreneur, ethical entrepreneurship. I just did a post with that. And so we learn from each other. And I appreciate that you're so free giving and allowing of that. And because it's really helped me build my own business. And I would love, since we don't have a ton of time, but maybe if you can type in the chats, like some of the people that you first started borrowing language from when you first started. I know you studied with Eric Ware a lot, or just Ray Hignan, or whoever that you maybe started developing that posture with. You know, it's amazing to learn from outside leaders as well. So thank you, Tala. And next up, I want to bring on Beck. Are you here, my love?
Hey, babe, I'm here.
Yay. All right. Well, Miss Rebecca Hall, I was inspired to ask you this question because anytime you lead a Zoom or I see you speak, it's just so calm and like you have such a presence about you. So what I really wanted to ask you is before you're going to go live or before you're going to talk to someone about your business, do you have any kind of like calming rituals or grounding things that you do to just be so like postured in your business presentation?
I was kind of thinking about that this morning. I was like, before I got on here, Mary, and I'm like, okay. So for me, I really like to feel good. Like I'm addicted to feeling good. And I know that we speak about oftentimes, you know, like when you're going through hardship and people like to come on and speak when they're in that moment. So there are going to be moments when everyone here is going to have like that aha moment where it's like, okay, I want to come on and speak. For me, it is I need to feel good. So I'm really sensitive how I feel in my body and my mind. So I usually in nature, or I'm like addicted to exercise. Even if I have, like today, I had 10 minutes, Mary. I was on all these calls before this. I'm like, I need to go ride the bike, or I need to you know, take the things that make me feel good, like the beets and the aminos, and do all that kind of stuff as well. But the aha moments that I have had, it's usually like when my vibration is pretty high and at the beach, or when my friends text me testimonials, or you know, when my team members are getting bonuses and I receive these texts. These are the moments that you can't help but share. But there's also like a little bit of a plan of how to come on live and what am I going to speak about. But sometimes it's just those moments of like, now's the time. Even if you do go to do the live, and sometimes it just doesn't work because of the reception. But truly it is, for me, it's like getting my vibration up, and it's practice. Like Robin said, it comes more and more and more with practice in time. That's about it, really. I was going to share, you know, like for me with my team, and I'm going to be doing more Facebook lives with my team, interviewing them. So as they come on, for me, it's like I would ask the questions like, what excites you? Like, what excites you during the day? Do you love music? Do you love to chat with friends? Do you love to go for a bike ride? Or what grounds you? Like if you have a baby that you've been nursing all night and you have to lead a call, like what is the thing that you need to give to you before you get on that call? For Mary, you could like, maybe it's like a piece of dark chocolate with a cup of tea or something like that, that's just for you so that you can feel nourished and come on. So, but really that's it for me. I just really like to feel good. And I'm not the type of person, I have come on lives before, like expressing myself. I don't really like to share if I'm like down and out. I have expressed like who are the other mamas on there like struggling with their kids or something like that. But I don't really like to come on and cry on live. It's just not me. That's my personal. So it's usually like when I'm really vibing high and I want to share, which is most of the time because I'm addicted to feeling good. So anyway. That's about it. It's really simple. So finding what grounds you, finding what excites you, and then coming on and sharing about that.
Yeah. And I think what I'm hearing from you is like use the inspiration of your business to fuel more inspiration. So tell those stories, you know, remember to take care of yourself. We're in this business to help others take care of themselves. So sometimes it is like, oh yeah, I should drink a beet. I do that a lot. I'm like, oh yeah, go get your feet on the earth. So I love how simple it is. And it really shows back, like it really just shows your excitement and your joy, and it's attracting. And that's one of the tactics we're using in this business is the attraction marketing. So I love that because I personally really like to work with excited people. So how am I going to do that? By showing my excitement and then bringing.
Yeah. And I do truly believe that, like you said, that, you know, like if I'm feeling shitty and like my frequency is just, I that's just not me. Like I don't want to be sharing like when I feel crap. you know. But I do sometimes, I speak about that as a mum, because we all can connect. Like, yeah, it is hard. Like, it's sometimes the greatest spiritual journey you've ever been on as a mum, even if you've like been in ashrams. Like, your child can sometimes is your guru, right? So it can be a very hard journey. So sharing about things like that. But yeah, thanks, Mary, for having me
Yeah,
on.
totally. Thank you. So being real and also just share your joy. Share your joy. I think that's what people, especially right now, that's one of the things that I found success with, is like so many people are already down and out.
And come on when you have that feeling that you want to share something, don't hesitate to come on, even if you don't have a topic. One thing I do want to share, that what helped me go live more and more and more was doing lives of like concerts. I mean, a lot of that's not happening right now, but doing lives of other things, like at the beach. So that gets you really confident in hitting the live button, and then you can turn it around and start speaking. I've had to train one of my people, just like go live on a sunset, just practice going live, and then you'll come up with topics as well as you go. So
Yeah, go live about what your comfort zone is, and then you'll slowly get to move more towards those growth edges. Same when we talk about, you know, when you're first coming on, go for your low-hanging fruit first. Like, go talk to the people that it's easiest to talk to first, because it gets you in that practice mode. So yeah, great tips, Beck. Thank you so much. And Christina, are you back on? I think I just saw you.
I'm here. Hopefully I have a solid connection. I'm in a new place, so.
Yay. Awesome. Well, if there was anything that you wanted to follow up on, we lost you there in that last one, just about having joy. You were talking about the curiosity and the wonder. If there's anything else you want to add into that.
The only other pieces I was going to add were just to have fun with the creativity of it. I mean, to me, social media is an art form. And I'm, you know, I was a 10 of resistance to social media. So I totally get it if you're just like, And I just decided, okay, this is my art form for now. This is where I can let my creative muse come out and flow. And that makes it really fun. So just getting into the visuals, getting into the poetry, the prose, the sharing of other people's stuff, the collages, the video, all of that is, even the costumes, getting into like your own visual of like your background and how you look. And I mean, this is pretty cool. I didn't even intend this. It's like a window. But, you know, you can get into the creative aspect as a way to just tap into that fun piece of having fun with it. And so, yeah, just having just the creative, letting your creativity flow and guide you. And yeah, similar to what Beck was saying, like getting in that space. So I definitely use like dance and play and yoga and ways to like get into my joy for sharing. So those are the kind of the last pieces on that. And yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I love that. Use your business as your art form. One of the terms that my sister taught me when I was young was have your job be your joy of being. And I always think about that. And so I actually just did a really business forward post, but I made a reel of my kids in our homeschool practice. And so it was like a super fun, music, creative way to also add in the business. So I think that's really, really great advice of making your business your art form. And then I wanted to follow up with you, Christina, as we know you're kind of the queen of the why. And so I'm curious, like, how do you really weave in your why into your business forward posts, or when you're talking about the business or sharing about the business? And particularly, how are you using your why to like invite people to the virtual retreat and so forth and so on?
Yeah, I mean, our why, it's who we are. It's like you know, if you're brand new and you're still figuring out, and most of us, the why continues to evolve for a while. It will always evolve. But in the beginning, we're just like figuring it out. Sometimes we're just shedding that whole like, am I even allowed to desire these things? Am I allowed to desire this kind of freedom and lifestyle? So at the beginning, you're hearing these other people's stories of their why, and you're like, yes, I have that same why. Yes, I feel called to that. And so it's the same thing when we're talking to prospects. They can relate to what we have based on connecting with aspects of our why. So and as the why develops, it's like this huge kaleidoscope of all these different dimensions and layers to your own personal why. And so when you're connecting with somebody, you're kind of like, it's like you're a little medicine person, and you go into your pouch and you're like, okay, what is this person? Which part of my why will relate to this person? And you'll know based on, you've asked them questions. Part of sharing our why is also in response to finding out what people are looking for, whether that's a direct conversation where we're asking questions, finding out what their why is, or just going on their social media and being like, well, they're pretty clearly stating their why here. This is what they're looking for. This is what they're calling in. So I'm going to share that aspect of my why with them. So for me personally, there are many, 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 many people who can relate to the desire to get land and just have the simple life. And yet the reality is it's not that simple to get there. It's like a whole thing of like getting the land, developing the land, having the budget. So for my story, it's a really common, I'm on these connect calls all the time, and I hear probably 80% of the people say, I just want to get some land, grow food, have some trees, maybe a river, and live with community or my family and just like play music and, have the simple life. Like most people, that's the vision. So it's really easy for me to share that why that I have, because so many people can relate to it. But I'll also, like I said, I'll modify it. Like if I'm talking to a single mom who just got out of an abusive relationship and she's just trying to get her feet back on the ground in life, I'm going to talk about the part of my why that's, wow, I've become so empowered as a woman by creating economic independence in my life, something that I've never had before. And I'm going to come at it from that standpoint. Or maybe it's some like really hardcore activist or somebody who's just really got that global lens of like, I want to change the world. And then I'm going to talk about, how the more of us who accumulate wealth, who have consciences and hearts, then we can make massive change in this world collectively. So it's really like it's this give and take where we're receiving input from their why, asking questions, looking for cues, and then delivering a little bit of our story of our why as a point of connection and for them to relate. And that's going to be the easiest way for somebody to understand what we have. I had somebody prospected me early on, and they were just sending me these digital flyers about Purium. And I was just like, what the heck is this? What is this? I had no clue how it related to me at all. I was like, this is an event in a hotel, like these weird people, like I don't even take superfoods. Like, what is this? Then I had somebody else prospect me, connect with me as a friend, just talk about, I'm a mom, I've had 2 babies, like I could use some energy, I could definitely use a cleanse. And then I heard this story about some women who were making like really good money. And that's when I really leaned in. I was like, okay, now I'm really interested in that Purium thing. I just heard the word $20,000 a month. That was the first time Purium ever caught my attention, because I was looking, my why had me already primed for like on the lookout for like, where can I find really significant amount of money to develop our farm that's, in alignment with something that I would be willing to do, and also something I can do with like being a stay-at-home mom. Hearing like somebody else doing it like that, in that story, I'm like, oh, okay, I'm leaning in. So the why is really like what brings it to the heart, brings it home for people. And that's why, I love sharing my why, and I love listening for the why. And that's kind of like my whole conversation, and it's my whole social media is pretty much just like a big why fest.
A big why fest. I love that. And what I'm hearing you say is like your why makes you the most relatable. And I would totally agree with that. I think people just want to feel related to. And the more we journal on our why, the more we know our why, like Christina said, is you can start to decipher all these different pieces of your why so that you can be relatable to many different types of people in different situations. The more you know your why, the more relatable you are, the more broad you can get with your community, because not everyone can relate to network marketing or being a single mom or blah, 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 right? But everybody can relate to having dreams, and everybody can relate to wanting to feel good. So I love that, Christina. And something I really got from you at one point was like, just make your social media like your vision board. Like just pour your why all out there. And so that when people go there, they see like, wow, this woman is really about the farming and the family and the blah, and they can just see your why, and it just becomes so clear whether or not they resonate with that. So beautiful. Thank you. And Rachel, I'd love to bring you back on if you're available for another share.
I'm here.
So I'm curious from you, like if you can tell us a story, if you remember like the first time you really started going business forward, or if you made a particular post, or like, do you remember that? And what did that feel like? Did it feel scary to step into the more business side? Because I know you came from more of the product side of doing the fitness and all of that. So I'm just curious, like, do you have a story for us of how that really started?
Yeah, well, I just finally got to this place of conviction where I just realized like, this is what I want to do. Like, I don't want to do anything else. I had been a wedding photographer, making money all over the world, traveling, having a glamorous lifestyle, was staying in fancy hotels and with all these people. And it was just, and even though it was like this glamour, it just really actually was really a lot of work. And I was so exhausted that's how I got my adrenal fatigue and got sick in the first place, was this like really hardcore. And it's like, it is a hustle to be a business owner. Anybody who owns a business, it's like there's a hustle. And I knew that I was in that hustle. It was like always trying to get more people, but I knew that like in this model, that if I could just get to this place of where you know, you get to a certain point where then the plane is flying, right? They always talk about like, we get the plane off the tarmac. There is this hustle in the beginning. There's this work that we put in. And after a certain point, you can kind of ride the plane. And then you're just like, oh my gosh, okay, now we're in this, where the business is on this sort of autopilot where you're actually, you can support your team and you can continue to enroll people, but you're making an amount of money that's now sustainable, and then it's paying you ongoing, and you can depend on that financial, you can depend on that income coming in monthly. And so that's the difference from what I was seeing. Because before I was like, I'm always going to be in this hustle. I'm always going to be working hard. I'm always going to have to work really, really hard. Like Sarah talking about, I'm going to be holding this table on my shoulder when I'm 80 years old, this massage table. And she just was picturing that. And that's how I was seeing myself, like, oh my God, ad nauseum, like this is so much work forever. And so yeah, fueling up, ready to fly, Chelsea, right? And so it's just like, I really finally understood this business model, and I just could see like, this is possible. And it took me getting some paychecks to really recognize, okay, this is real. Like once I started, my paycheck started increasing. I was like, oh my God, this is so real. And I announced publicly on Facebook that I was like, I'm quitting wedding photography. I have found my passion and my love. This is what I'm doing for the rest of my life. And this is what I want to do. And I felt like there was so much meaning. And I remember that in that post, I said, I really love that I'm helping people. I love that I'm helping people with health. And I love that I can help people make money, and that I can do those together. Like, oh my God, a business helping people make money. That is so cool. Like, whoa, like everyone needs checks. Everyone needs money. Everyone needs to survive. And so it was beyond this health survival. It's like, I'm helping people earn income. And I mean, when I look at, all what I was doing before, hiring people, like I would subcontract out sometimes. And so, I could help people make money, but I couldn't help them make residual income. I wasn't like in a business where I was helping other people make monthly residual income that eventually, like I have people who've joined my business and they've left, but they're still getting checks. They're still getting like $500 a month, and some are making, $1,000 a month. And some people who've like not stayed with it, they're still living off this residual income. And I have never been able to create that for anyone. I've never been able to help anyone start that. So, prior to this, doing my wedding photography for 20 years, as much as I wanted to create income and have employees and be creating like job security for people, I really couldn't do it like I could here. So, anyway, so that's really satisfying to me. And so I remember I remember my first post was like, I'm leaving wedding photography. I'm no longer going to be a wedding photographer. And I am doing this. I have found my love and calling. You know, it's with Purium. I don't know if I said the name of the company, but I said, this is what I'm doing. It was this long post. And all these people were just asking me like, well, what are you doing? So what are you doing now? Well, what is this thing that you're doing? And so, and I remember I had somebody sign up that day, or it was either that day or the next day, and they bought the launch pack. The $1,000 pack at that time was like you get 2 ultimate lifestyle transformations and you get the business, and he was all in. And I was like, great, you know? So even just like getting one person from that post was so exhilarating because I was leading with the business and I was giving somebody an opportunity to see their future. So yeah, I remember it was like a big cliff dive. And it was like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm doing this. And I was nervous and exhilarated at the same time, but I just knew that this was the route that I wanted to go. Even if I wasn't like at that place yet of I'm doing this and I'm making like, you know, I wasn't making $20,000 a month or anything at that time, but it was just this conviction and people believed that. And so then from then on, like people just kept asking me, you know, to do photography. And I was like, nope, not doing it. But of course, I think it's important to like, if you want to do this long term, if this is your vision and you're like, I see that Purium is it, you know, we can continue to, we still want to be earning income until, you know, like, I think we still, like, I think Blue Diamond is the goal for like full time, if you want to do Purium full time. But, you know, to like be able to let go of other things, it's like, that's like the secure position is Blue Diamond. But, you know, until then, it's helpful to let people know that I found something that I'm passionate about and let people know. And then just let them get on board. That's what's going to attract people, is that excitement. So thanks for asking.
Yeah, and I love it. The cliff dive.
Yep.
And just exactly what you said, just let people know you found something that you're passionate about. Like people are happy about that. And I'll say, I can resonate totally that my favorite part of this business is helping other people make money. That's why it's become so easy for me to talk about the business, because I never thought that was part of my work path, is like, I'm going to be helping others become financially sustainable in their life. And to me, that's been the most fun part, is like, wow, I'm not just increasing my own financial health, but my friends and my family and people I don't even know that I get to meet. So sometimes that cliff dive will have a ripple effect into so many other people's lives that you couldn't even know. So thank you, Rachel. And then lastly, wow, this call has just kind of flown by. I could interview our leaders all day. So much juicy nuggets. If you want to write in the comments anything that is really you've taken away from any of the leaders, I'd love to see the comments and save the chat since I can't take notes. But next on, I'm going to bring Miss Sarah Rhinelander. And I really want to take a moment to honor Miss Sarah, because we are so lucky, you guys, that Sarah is our main mentor and our main leader. She's the highest rank in the company that can be. She's going even higher, but 5-star crown. And she just leads with such heart. And this whole superfood social container has really been Sarah's birth baby. And it's just really amazing to have that level of support and the amount of layers of leadership that she's been able to develop in her team. I only hope that I can do that one day. So Sarah, I just want to bring you on and thank you, and also have you wrap up our call with the details of the business virtual retreat. So.
Oh my gosh, Mary, I'm like crying over here. Okay, so this is like, wow, such an emotional call for me, because I've just been here like listening to all of these incredible people share, and I remember when each of the people that you just heard share started their business, like on day one. Like I signed up Rachel, I did Christina's Connect call, her first Connect call. I signed up Beck. She she called me from all the stories, like Mary Beth, I think I wasn't on her very first Connect call, but I met her right at the very beginning. Tala, I think I was on his first Connect call, and it's just to see and witness, what can really come through our courage. If you're hearing my voice, your courage to be able to actually lead with the business, speak about the business. This, what Rachel just said, I help people make money, and I can just stand here and say, okay, every single voice that you've heard on this call is living full-time off of their Purium income, has a full-time Purium income that's supporting them. and and beyond, right? So this is the power of being able to really stand, and like Rachel said, that conviction. And even if you're not making, if you've never made, like, if this is your first call and you haven't even shared a gift card yet, having the conviction of knowing what you do want and what you don't want. And that is what we share. That's how we share it with the business. So I'm just going to really briefly just echo what Christina said here, which is, that for me as well, when I first started hearing about Purium, it was product. And I was like, okay, like, I'm so not interested in these little, like, superfood things that these girls are doing around here in Kauai. But it took me hearing from someone who was making $20,000 a month, not with Purium, but with another company, that really opened up my vision of this being a possibility for me to live my why, for me to craft the future that I desired. And I see so many, especially you guys, like right now, there's so many people that are lost in confusion land about, like, whoa, like, there's so much fear, there's so much activation and like fear happening in our world right now, that being able to stand and say, okay, well, I know what I want, right? Like, that can be so calming for other people's nervous systems, even to see you standing there, like sharing a live and being like, okay, I know what I want, right? Because then it gives people that the vision of what that can even feel like, right? We can give that transmission of confidence and conviction of saying, okay, I know what I want. And a lot of people have no idea. So really starting to lead with the business is getting clear on what it is you really want. And I've been having a lot of experiences recently. The other day I had someone sharing with me about this friend of theirs, and they're like, yeah, like, he said this thing when he was 14 years old and now it's true. Right? That there is a design, that we do have power. Our words contain strength and they're a creative force. And the more that we are clear what we're saying and we're putting that out there into the world, the more that we are going to be directing ourselves on that path. So start with knowing exactly what you want. And so here's my question. How many of you want to be or have a conviction or a feeling or a desire, like this, fire in your belly, that you want to be doing Purium full-time? Or let me rephrase that you want your Purium income to be a full-time income for you, that you're like, okay, I don't want to be doing anything else besides this. Like, I don't necessarily want to be doing this full-time forever. I'm ready for the residual to come in, but I want to be able to create an income stream with Purium that will let me let go of the other things in my life that are not feeding my soul. Okay. Sweet. Yay. So that's something to, write that down. And I'm going to read you guys. So I saw someone asking about the social media addresses for everyone, and those are in the chat, but I want to direct you guys. First, I want to have you each pull out your phone and follow at superfood.social if you are not already. And when you do that, type done. And then I also want you can also follow me at Bliss Mother. And you can check out my last post, which was a live that I did about having an exit strategy. How many of you guys have an exit strategy? For how many of you is Purium your exit strategy? Right? So a lot of the messaging that we can share is just like, hey, what's up? What are you doing? Like, how are you rolling with what's happening in the world right now? What's your plan? How are you grounding yourself? How's your, what are you doing in this time? Here's what I'm doing. So I'm just going to read you guys a really, really quick little blurb from that post. How I transferred it from, what's your exit strategy? I shared a little bit about my business journey, and then I moved it into the virtual retreat. So the virtual retreat is a structure. It is a container. It is a creation for you all, each of you, to be able to bring people into a container where they're going to get inspiration, where you're going to get inspiration to share with them, but they're going to, they're going to be held in this place of receiving entrepreneurial support, of creating an income stream. So, it's just beautiful to be able to share this. And I'm going to give you guys a couple tips of how to do that. But what I said in the end of my post was, we will be sharing powerful entrepreneurial training and support on how to create a positive impact and a powerful residual income stream from your phone from anywhere in the world. Okay, so my live was about like, hey, if you had to move tomorrow, like, would your money move with you, or would you be, we are committed, and this is really where I want to bring in some of this languaging, and I'll put this in the chat here. But we are committed to supporting a deep cultivation of the ability to thrive, even and especially through times of upheaval and transformation. So that's my languaging. This is kind of how I like to talk about the business, right? So I'm not going like, hey, like, buy a pack and get a free business, like join my Purium team. I'm like, hey, I'm committed to supporting people to cultivate the ability to thrive in their lives. My prayer is to come through this, we all know what this is, with a world where we all have the freedom to move, to choose, and to thrive. Okay, so I'll put this in the comments here, and you guys can also check that out on my post and give me some love on that post. But this is, this is business forward languaging. What are you passionate about? What is like burning you up? You might not even know. And that's why, really doing self-reflection here, you might not even have, like, a lot of times we kind of tend to numb out a little bit about, wow, that's like really bothering me, or that's like, so really allowing yourself to feel your feelings and to feel what's ready to move through you. So I'm going to go ahead and give you guys a couple little downloads here. So the details of the retreat, the virtual retreat, and part of this is because we haven't been having, normally we have live get-togethers, we have live regional events multiple times a year, a live, national event once a year, and we haven't had any of that in almost a year. So this is kind of this imagination of how can we bring people together in a business context to recreate some of that connectivity that we don't have right now because we are really just Zooming together. So the details are in the post at Superfood Social, the most recent post. And we are going to be doing 2 giveaways for a business pack. So that's going to be 2 core 4-packs with a business giveaway for the next 2 Sundays. So I'm going to give you guys a couple quick tips on how to navigate this, okay, so we have that, we have like leading with the business, we have this container, like how do I connect the two? So I'm going to give you guys some quick tips here, and I can put these in the comments as well. Number 1, share content daily. It doesn't matter if it's a story, it doesn't matter if it's a live. I'm actually on a rhythm right now where I'm doing a picture, a live video, and a reel. A picture, a live video, and a reel, and just keeping me really honest that I'm doing all doing my entries. So I have that rhythm in my feed right now, but it can be however you want. But I want to, if you're not already using stories, do a story every single day. Do not let a day go by where you don't post something in your story. Okay, when you're doing your stories, put polls in there. And you can swipe up on your stories and you can see who's following your stories. And those are the people that you are going to reach out to and just start conversations with. So that stories are such an awesome way to be able to track who is tuned into you, who is watching you, who is connecting with what you're putting out there. Okay, track your people. Use your tracker. If you haven't been using your tracker, that's fine. This is the time when you're going to really want, whenever there's a campaign happening, using your tracker allows you to follow up with the people that you're communicating with, because it's the saying, fortune is in the follow-up, right? If you don't follow up with the people who you have reached out to, the likelihood that they will enroll is very low. And the likelihood that you're going to say, I'm just working all the time on my Purium business and I just never enroll anybody. If you've ever had that feeling, just type a 1 in the comments. Like if you've ever said that to us, man, all I do is just work on Purium and I don't know, it's not going anywhere. Well, it could very well be that you are not tracking and following up in the way that will actually lead to sales and enrollments. So tracking, following up, so important. Connect with the people who follow you. We already went over that. Start sharing entrepreneurial content. So here's what I want you guys to do. Write in the comments right now, one thing that you heard on this Zoom that sparked something in you. Just type it in the comments, like some kind of takeaway, something. Write it in the chat here. And then you are going to go ahead and do a live video about that. And it can be just 2 minutes long. It can be 3, it can be 4 minutes. We are supporting this transformation in our team right now, where we are actually starting to show up, not just as sharing our why, which is also a huge piece, but actually sharing supportive content to our audiences that will be helpful for them when they are having challenges in their own life, business, or whatever, right? So in order to share, you only have to be a little bit farther along in the process than the person who's hearing from you, and it can completely transform. And sometimes even you don't have to be farther along. Like whatever content that you're sharing can change somebody's life. I get messages all the time, wow, I really needed to hear that today. Right? So trust yourself enough to be able to put something out there that someone really needed to hear, even if it's just one person. So sharing your golden nugget today, stepping into being coaches, share your financial why, address objections with your stories. So like you could make a story or make a little post that says, I used to think that I was the worst salesperson ever. I used to think that I would never be good at sales, that I could never sell anything, and I never wanted to. And then I realized that what selling really is an opportunity to connect someone with something that they're searching for. And that every time that I share a book, I'm selling something. So, I'm really reimagining this experience, this relationship that I have with sales, and it's very powerful. And you can just leave it at that. You could do a little story like that, right? Just so short, simple, like, hey, I just had this realization. Like everyone always says, I'm so scared of selling, because you're speaking to the objections that your audience might already have. Hey, I don't have time to do that business. I could pop on my stories. Confessions of a momapreneur. I used to think that I had 0 time to add anything else to my life because I was already had 3 kids, I was running my husband's business, like share your story about how you have 0 time. And then I realized that in order to create more time, I needed to get into a residual income stream. And so when I made the decision that I wanted to do something different with my time, all of a sudden things started to shift, right? So you guys are picking this up. Yeah. Like just give like a short response to an objection that you've heard. I felt, found. I feel you. I felt the same way. And what I found was to create more time, I needed to be spending my time differently. Okay. Share your passion, share what moves you. And I love Beck's share about like, get into a good feeling before you do it. Like jump around, jump on the trampoline, do a power pose, like put on a little piece of music and dance around, but get into that place where like where there's energy actually moving through your body. And then share from that place. And then, MLMs are dangerous. Yeah, that's a great one. So a great story about MLMs is you can say, I used to think that MLMs are really bad. And, my mom, I was allergic to them because of how my mom did them when I was a kid. And, then what I found was that it's just like restaurants, if I went to a restaurant, like I asked my friends, I went to my friend's house and she told me she was going to take me out to Mexican food. And I told her, Mexican food is like all GMO. It's all rainforest cut down. It's all like, terrible, blah, blah, blah. And the last time that I went to Taco Bell, I got sick. And my friend looked at me and said, Taco Bell? Like, I'm not taking you to Taco Bell. I'm taking you to like the next door, like organic, permaculture, farm to family, like super rootsy, you know, so we can get an idea in our mind when we hear something that can be completely different from what the reality is. So yes, I love that. The feel, felt, found is the feel, felt, found. Okay. And then the last little tip I'm going to give you guys is to keep a note. So this is another way of tracking, that when you're tracking, you're going to track your people. Okay. And share in the stories, share, you know, continue to share content daily, your excitement, your, you know, your little golden nuggets. Track your people who are following you, who you're having conversations with, and track your own thought process. Track your ideas, track your inspiration. We talked about this on the Diamond Call the other day, that like so many of the leaders are like, I get ideas to go live in the shower. You know, I have a little thing and I just write them down. So when you have, and what I love to use is on my phone, there's a little notepad icon, like the little notepad app. Bust out your notepad and just have a note that says inspiration, post inspiration, or whatever it is. And then you're just going to continue to keep a running list so that when you're ready to share, you have a quiet moment, or you're feeling inspired, you can just browse through that list if you don't have something coming up right away, and pull some content, and then not get frozen. I sometimes will get frozen. I'm like, what do I say? I have to do a live. So, you know, those are just a couple little tips here. And we are going to be doing the giveaway on, the first giveaway is this coming Thursday. I believe Tala is going to be leading that Zoom. It's going to be very much the similar format as we've done with, as we did with November Nourish, except with a business forward content. And every other day in Superfood Social, we're going to have one of the leaders jumping on live and coaching. It's going to be so fun. So yeah, I think you guys, you know, we've had a couple different shares about this already, so you probably are pretty clear on the details. If anyone needs support, ideas, or more information, reach out to your leaders. And you know, this is just the most powerful time of the year. I'm gonna leave it at this, that you know, this is the time of the year that is setting the stage for 2021 right now. This is the time. It's like, you know, I live in Hawaii now, but back in the where I grew up on the East Coast, we have a short growing season, and my dad would start plants inside under like a little grow light, because if we waited to plant the seeds when the frost was done, they wouldn't fruit by the end of the growing season, right? So I would always, like, outside my room there was this little thing, and it like had like shelves and little like sprouts growing, and then once the ground was warm enough, the plants would already be, you know, a pretty good size. We just plant them and we'd have tomatoes, right? So this is the time when we get to start our seeds. This is the time when we get to really leverage the inspiration, leverage your dreams, leverage your visions, leverage your desire to transform your income and help other people make money, and share about that, so that by the time January comes around and everybody's ready to lose money and lose weight and make money, they have their New Year's resolutions, right? They've already been like saturated in this vision of yours. They've already had that contact. They've already had like this starting to open up in them. So, you know, we're a little bit past the hour, so I'm gonna stop there. But thank you so much, Mary Beth. I am so just proud, and like I just had such an incredible feeling in my heart this whole call, to hear all of you and just to see the strength and wisdom and inspiration that all you bring through. So thanks for being here, everybody, and share your voice.
Thank you, everyone. And I put a little blog post in our Superfood Bliss Ohana Facebook page for takeaways, if you want to write some takeaways from the leaders in that post for those who missed it. And thank you, everyone, so much. Aloha.